Big hole, 20, 10, dives for the pylon. Touchdown, Kansas State.
Welcome to K-State Game Day. It's a chilly afternoon here in Manhattan, Kansas as the Cats get ready to take on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. I'm Bridget Howard, joined by former Wildcats Reggie Walker and Ian Campbell. Make sure to get your Facebook questions in now as we'll be answering those later in the show. Guys, Ian, you said you were going to bear the cold and show off your scarf game earlier this week. That didn't happen today. We ended up in the booth.
We're in the booth. I don't need a scarf in here. I was really just pushing for us to be outside just because I know how much Reggie hates the cold. So that was pretty much the whole reason.
Such a great
I do have like 3 really nice scarves. So.
Yeah, Reggie, are you glad we're up here again this week?
Oh, what? Oh my gosh. Did you see how cold it is out there? Man, like, did you really feel it though? Like, it gets into your bones.
Yeah.
Oh my
One of my
gosh.
favorite Midwest things is people say it's not the cold, it's the wind. It wouldn't be that bad if it's the wind. I think it's just
Someone said
cold.
that on our way in too.
You're just stealing quotes from people. All right, so we've got Texas Tech today, and we'll talk about them in a bit, but let's start with last week's win against KU. It was obviously much needed after TCU. What stood out most to you guys in their win and what they really did to secure that?
I think the best part about it was the defense. They've been really rolling as of late, especially at home. They've been playing very well at home. And then the fact too that the way that they pulled out this win, where it was a tough grinded out win, and it definitely could have gone either way. But they put, like, you could really see like the courage and the intensity and the 1-2. Like, these guys really do want that bowl game, and it really shows.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback off what Reggie said there. I think it's pretty evident that heart was what won this game for me. The offense hasn't been performing that well for us. Our defense has given us an opportunity to win a lot of games this year, but this game, if they were going to show through the adversity and the challenges that they faced this year, it was all about heart. And they were down, and there were some moments where it didn't look so great, but they went out and played hard against not an ideal situation, and I was happy to see that.
And then today's obviously the last home game for these 16 seniors. You guys have been through that. What's it like, I mean, being a senior on a day like this, but also for the non-seniors?
Well, for the seniors, I just remember our year. I think, dude, didn't we just cry the whole first quarter? Like, it was bad. Like, just trying to keep it together, and because we fought so hard, and you put so much into this, and just to be able to go out one last time with your brothers, because this is the last time a lot of guys are even going to put on the pads, especially at home in front of our fans. Like, it's tough, but I think it was one of the best experiences too at the same time, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, emotions run very high in that situation, and part of the aspect of not being a professional and amateur athletes is that these guys are trying to control those emotions because they still have a job and a task to do. So you want to be in the moment, experience what it is, do your best to manage it better than Reggie and I did, and go out and get the job done because there is still a game at hand shortly thereafter.
Right, and obviously it's cold out today. What do you think? I mean, are the seniors still pumped up, and even in the weather conditions today? How are they handling that?
Oh, I think they're gonna be fine. We are best friends with these cold games, especially later on in the year, and I guarantee Bill had them outside practicing to get ready for this. You remember that?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, so I think they're gonna be ready to play.
Yeah, I have no doubt about it. The cold weather favors K-State. It's the Midwest. The Southern schools in the Big 12 has always suffered a little bit when it comes. They have to come north and play a cold game. They're not used to it. The guys are going to be constantly talking about how cold it is, and I promise you, nobody on the K-State sideline that's playing is talking about how cold it is or worried about coats.
Right. And before we head to break, K-State needs these last 2 wins in these last 2 games. Do we see anything unexpected today from them? Is it kind of that mentality, we're just putting it all out there?
I don't know. I don't know. It really just depends on how the flow of the game goes. If they can come out and really punch them in the face early and really jump on them early, then I don't know. It's really tough to tell. But I think if we get down, I think we might see some trick plays here and there. But I think we're going to keep playing Snyder ball. That's what we do.
Yeah, if business as usual can operate and they can get that start, I think that's really big deal for K-State right now. If they get a poor start, then you might see some things that are not atypical or orthodox for Kansas State football, and might see some trick plays and some wildcat packages, because right now Delton had a little trouble throwing the ball. We don't know what the situation is exactly with the quarterback, and our offense has struggled. So, but if they can keep Texas Tech off the field, by running the ball and giving Barnes as many carries as is necessary, then you're going to see typical K-State football. But based on the climate and what's happening, and I'm not talking about the weather, there's a good chance you see 1 or 2 trick plays today.
For sure.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, we'll hear questions from you guys from Facebook, and if not, we'll talk more about Coach Snyder and the questions surrounding whether or not this may be his last home game here in Manhattan. We continue here on K-State Game Day here at Bill Snyder Family Stadium. You can see the fans bearing the cold out there. I'm with myself, Reggie Walker, and Ian Campbell. Guys, let's talk about Coach Snyder. There's been a lot of talk surrounding whether or not this will be his last year for K-State. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I think we're gonna have to see. I think if they can pull it out and go to another bowl game, I think he'll probably end up staying. But then again, who knows? That's someone else's job who's making a lot more money than me or either any of us to decide. But I think if they do grind these 2 games out, then I think he might end up staying.
Yeah, for us, really, the hard part is we're creating speculation with like the eye of the needle and a landscape view. So we only see a very small aspect of what we think can probably happen. And regardless of what does happen, I just want to reiterate that Coach Snyder, despite what has occurred this year, has lifted K-State and Manhattan up from the ashes not once but twice. Many of you may not remember what the state of the program was like in 2008 when he came back, and that he has uplifted the whole town, and it's a completely different place than it was when we were here, and for the better. So whatever happens, we should always be thankful and appreciative of that, and we will K-State football will prevail whatever happens and whenever Coach Snyder departs.
And if he does come back, what do they need to do during the offseason to really work on and kind of fix the program, so to say, get it back on track?
I think it probably starts off in recruiting. I think when it's come to some of the athletes that we've gone against, we haven't been really matched up too well. So I think, honestly, hitting the recruiting front, we need to put more of an emphasis on that. But I think that's probably the biggest thing that we really need to hit.
I agree, and part of the recruiting issue is not necessarily not having enough talent, is we lack depth. So when we get 1 or 2 guys injured, suddenly we're not able to compete. We're having a little bit of a struggle with the secondary right now. We had all these good players, and suddenly they're hurt, and now our defense is we have guys playing out of position, or they're not quite prepared because they're young and they're playing. And I thought our defense has been pretty commendable and gave us a good chance this year. So not only is the recruiting got to get better, but we have to get early development in these younger guys when they come in. So whether that's the JUCO route or not, we have to fill that void so that when we take a step back into our second and our third team, it's not a huge jump backwards.
Yeah.
Right. And regardless, really, of whatever ends up happening, it's still great to see fans coming out on days like this. How important was that to you guys when you guys were playing? You may not be in the same position, but to see these fans coming out and still supporting.
Oh, it was everything, especially since, during our time, it was very tumultuous. It was bad. And we did feel as if the world was against us, but seeing the fans actually come out and support us and cheer for us, and even after the game, come up to us and congratulate us, and that makes you feel so warm and wanted. And with K-State, it is such a family atmosphere, and these days really make you feel that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you notice the stands and how full they are, how full they aren't. I know the weather will have some impact on that, so hopefully the players don't pay too much attention to what the total attendance is because of that. But these guys have put 4 and some of them 5 years into the K-State program, so the best we could do is at least send them off on a good note on their way out of Manhattan.
100%.
Well, we're going to take another break here, but when we come back, we'll get both Reggie and Ian's keys to victory and players to watch. We continue here back on K-State Game Day. Myself, Reggie Walker, Ian Campbell. Guys, let's get to your players to watch today. Who do you guys have?
My player to watch today is Alex Barnes. I think he's going to have to be the centerpiece today. We need to play Snyder ball, ground it out, keep their offense off the field as often as possible. Barnes, he's been the unquestioned leader of the offense as far as this making plays, and honestly, he's killing it this year. He's the Big 12's leading rusher, but we're going to need him today.
Yeah, and I'm going defense, all defense today. I think Justin Hughes, this guy has came up. He was a second, third string guy, stepped up in injuries, and over the last 5 ball games, he's had 36 tackles, 4 tackles for a loss, and 2 forced fumbles. He's playing as well as any linebacker is in the Big 12 right now, and this guy's coming off the bench. That's the kind of thing that we need to see. We need to have a bright spot. If you're looking for one, K-State fans, there's one right there, because he's going to be back next year.
And also, like I mentioned earlier, K-State needs to get this win today, but also the next one when they face off against Iowa State. What are your keys to victory for them to securing that win today?
My first key is to control the clock. They're the second. Texas Tech's offense is second in the nation in passing. They have one of the best receivers in the country. We need to keep them off the field. That's going to have to be the key to this game. Plus 2, we need to finish our drives. We've had our issues this year with finishing drives. In this game, we're going to have to score points. So it's one of the big things that's going to be needed today.
Now, I'm focusing on the couple things that I'm aware of or that I know, and that's our defense is playing well. And right now for me, my 2 keys to the game is non-offensive touchdown, because right now we need to help the offense as much as we possibly can, and we've led the nation in non-offensive touchdowns since 1999. And number 2 is turnover margin. And that's not losing the ball. That's the one offensive key. And the other part of that is that we are getting turnovers. We have guys who are a little bit of ball hawks, and these guys are going to throw it around. Hands are going to be cold. There's going to be an opportunity. The ball's going to get knocked up in the air and go out and get it.
All right. Well, that's all we have for this edition of K-State Game Day. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to tune in at 2:30 p.m. on ESPNU to watch the Cats take on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. For myself, Reggie Walker, Ian Campbell, thank you.